Happy Monday morning, everyone. This is Stacy Turner with our DMOpro Zoom. I'm so glad you're joining us. Hope you had a great weekend. And today we're going to be talking about how to have conversations with different people. Okay, so there are different people in your life and different approaches, I guess, is what I want to kind of explain this. And this is from a training by Eric Worre. And I have created a mini course for those of you that subscribe on our DMO app to the DMOpro section. That's already in there. I uploaded it this morning, and it's a full training that you can do for yourself or you could gather for your team. And so that's what I did this weekend. We met in the back room of a coffee shop. We just had a great time, and it was about an hour and a half. And the training's already in there. The worksheets are there. So I kind of took the thinking out of it for you guys, and you watch the video, and then those training worksheets are in there, and you can use those, print those out, and do some training with your team. And you can make it work for whatever product you have, whatever business you're in, whatever company you're in. And I just think it'll be super powerful for you guys too. We had excellent discussion, and the team that was there said, we need to do this more often. And I realized we really do. You know, it's easy to think, oh, I'm training my team because I'm on this call for myself and for you guys. And I know my team listens to this, or some of them are on, but do we really spend some time in training our own team? And that's something I just want to encourage you guys that, you know, take this information that we discuss, and then you not only want to apply it to yourself, but you want to then take that information to your team. And when you teach it to your team and you use it with them, you're going to learn more yourself. But that's the idea. We don't want to just be absorbers of information, and we don't want to keep that information to ourselves. Leaders within our business, if you want this business to grow and you want this duplication to happen, it's a process of taking information and then teaching that to other people. So I hope that that will be one way that's a simple process for you, that you can take the information and then do a training with your team. So that is found on the DMOpro section of our app. That's the subscription section. So there's now 3 mini courses in there that you can use for yourself and for your team and pull them together for a training. So I hope you guys find that helpful. Those of you that have subscribed to that. But one of the sections in there, this is a training by Eric Worre, and this was a video I found, and it's from 10 years ago, and it's just as relevant today as it was 10 years ago. And he talks about 7 essential skills, just 7 skills that we have to be able to run our network marketing businesses. It was really great training that applied, like I said, right now. And 10 years ago, he said, pass out a CD, give someone a CD. And we were laughing. We're like, oh, that shows that it's a little bit dated. But, now we're just texting a video to someone. It does make so just encouraging you guys, to just take the information and then put it out there. So one of the 7 essential skills that he talked about was approaching people to have a conversation. And he explained that there are 3 ways to do that: to have an direct conversation. So you're taking the information to them, direct, indirect, and super indirect. Okay, so I'm just going to explain the basics of what he talked about, and then we're going to kind of talk through what he would mean by that. He does a great job explaining it. But when we're talking like a direct conversation, that would be, I have something for you. Okay, so this is, you're talking one-on-one with someone, they're sharing their health struggle. And then you say, you know what, I have something I think you might be interested in. That's a direct conversation. You go right to the product, right to the meat and potatoes of the problem, as one of my friends said the other day, and I was laughing about that. Like, you get right to the point, hey, I have something for you. This is for you. This might be for you. This is something you might be interested in. So that's a direct approach. And that comes up a lot of times when we're just listening to conversations, or it could be that you're on social media and you see someone is sick. You're going to kind of go a little bit, not right to it, but you might send them a message and just say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry you guys aren't feeling well. How long have you been dealing with this? You could get to the point where you ask them, what are you doing to support yourself nutritionally right now? And you can kind of get to the direct, but it's for them. Okay, so the product is for them. Then indirect would be, let me think. Let me just make sure I get my notes right on this one because I don't want to mess this up. It was just a little bit different approach than what we have, specifically talked about. But okay, so indirect would be, can I get your advice? I need your help. Can I practice with you? I would like your input. So I say this works a lot with guys, with spouses. So the wife comes to the event, she hears it, she thinks it's great. Oh yeah, we've got it. We definitely want to do this. I'm going to go home and talk to my husband. So remember, people don't like to be sold to. They like to choose to be a part of something. So if you go into that conversation with a husband, a lot of times it's guys, their mind thinks different, definitely. I mean, it fits for all of us, but I find this works really well for husbands. The other one it works for is with a mom telling her kids, about Juice Plus, like especially like her adult children. So if you just say, this is for you. I know you eat terrible. I've watched what you eat for the last 30 years and you've got to have these fruits and vegetable capsules. Like, I'm just going to take your order. Let's just go. That would be a direct approach that may not get the same response, probably with anyone, but an indirect approach would be, this made sense to me. I went to this health event tonight and I thought it was excellent information, but I was just curious what you would think about it. Can I send you the video we watched and would you give me your opinion on it? So that's the indirect. Can I get your input? So that works, like I said, really well with spouses, husbands, older kids. It could be someone in your life that is just kind of on a little bit different scale of skill set than you, just asking for input or advice. So if you feel like they're a little bit hesitant or the conversation, you're just like, they don't usually take information from me well, or you're not sure if they will take information from you well. I see some of you smiling. So there's somebody coming into your mind. You're like, oh yeah, I know who that is. A lot of times it is family, right? It's family. And I have some really young girls on my team. They're in their early, like 19. And so I was like, this is probably the approach that they're going to take with almost anyone. Everyone in their life knows that they're young and it's not like they have a ton of training in nutrition, right? They've been taking this. It's my daughter and my niece. They've been taking it their whole life, actually as their prenatal, before they were even born, which is kind of fun. But like, they're not known in their circle of influence as someone who's really into nutrition, right? So everyone they're talking to is going to be older than them, and or most of them are going to be older than them. So if they said, I'd like to get your opinion on this would be maybe their boss, some teachers that they had in school, or co-workers that they work with now. The conversation is just going to be more open, and the person getting the information loves to give their opinion. Everybody loves to give their opinion. And so it just opens their mind before you even share anything with them, that they're like, sure, I'll help you out. I'll give you my opinion. I'll take a look at it. So they're more receptive to the information. There's a lot of people we can use in this instance, but your resistant people, or people that are a little bit more hesitant in your life, that's a great indirect approach with them. And then the super indirect approach, that's the third one, is, I know this isn't for you, but who do you know that it could be for? So This one is going to be an example. You would use this for someone in your life. Okay, I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. Like, if you have a skill set level from 1 to 10, 1 being no skill set, 10 being highly trained, high skill set in an area, we're just going to use, in nutrition, in business, like kind of as our picture with us. If you feel like you're at a 6 on that level, you're going to talk to people that are a 5, 4, or a 3, and you're going to invite people into your team that are a 5, 4, or a 3, because you feel like you're at a 6, at least a little bit more than them. You're a little bit more confident. And so then we tend to chicken list, you've heard that word before, people that are a 7, 8, 9, or 10 in our minds, right? So we stay where we're at. We invite kind of that lower skill set in our minds. We're like, okay, I can lead them, but I don't know about leading these people. Like they know way more people than I do. They have a successful business already. They're very entrepreneurial minded. They don't need the money. Whatever those people are in your life, they're the 3. You're going to go in with this third approach to them. This is the super indirect. So you're going to start out with, I know that you're, this isn't for you. You already have a business, but I'm looking for people that are XYZ. Do you happen to know anybody? And in that process, as they're thinking about it, they may be like, well, maybe it is for me. Like, I am interested in that, but you're kind of diffusing that situation because they're like, I already have a business. If you come in and you're like, hey, I have this business opportunity, a lot of times they're like, I'm doing fine. Like, I've got a business, I've got my own thing. I don't need this. So if you approach them the same way, an example would be my niece's, my niece is going to start shadowing a naturopathic doctor that is a family friend of hers. And so if she were to go to this naturopath and said, hey, I've got some nutritional information that I think you should take and carry in your practice. And that's what we do. We think we're approaching somebody and like, we've got the perfect solution for you. You should put this in your practice. And then we're like, dang it, they wouldn't even give me an appointment to come in and talk to them. That's too direct. That's saying, I have something for you. If you're going to go to the super indirect, it's, I said, if you just go in and tell her, she's like, I'm the one that went to school for 8 years. You haven't even started the school. Why are you telling me about this nutritional anything that I should start with my practice? These are my patients. These are my relationships. Why do you get a say of influencing them at all? It's just not going to go as well. If you try to go into a doctor's office and say, I really want to tell you about Juice Plus. Okay, you're going a very direct approach. That might work sometimes, but they're already thinking, oh, you want me to sell this to my people. And you do. That is why you're talking to them, but it's too direct and it shuts down the conversation. So you could say, I would love to come in and do a lunch and learn for your staff because more people in this area are hearing about Juice Plus. There's commercials on TV. I would just like to give some information to your staff. So when your patients are asking, hey, I would like to start taking this Juice Plus, or what do you know about Juice Plus? They're walking into the conversation just with a little bit more information, a little bit more confidence of what it is, and they'll be able to answer some of the basic questions or point them back. So I'm not coming in saying, I have a product that I want you to carry in your practice. Guys, that's just not very nice. Like, that's their people. Those are their relationships. They have established those and worked hard for those for years. Like, how would you feel in that same place? But if you go into the conversation, I have something of service for you. I would like to help you. I would like to just give you guys information and resources so that you can have stronger conversations. Doesn't that sound a little bit different? So I'm not saying I have something for you. I'm saying I have some information that your practice may want so that you can assimilate that into, if the questions come up. So that's another example of a super indirect approach to someone. So just be thinking about those people in your life who, are you approaching everyone with the direct approach? If you are, you're probably getting more no's than are necessary, right? Are you shutting down the conversation before it really even has a chance to take off because you're just so direct with that? You just want to be careful. Sorry, I had to let the little doggy out. Oh my goodness, she drives me crazy. So you just want to be careful that you're not approaching every conversation the same way. If you're like, how should I approach this? Think about it. Is it a direct conversation? Is it for them? If I asked for their input, would they be more receptive? And if I diffused it with, I know this isn't for you, but, super indirect, would they receive the information in a better way? So I would love to hear from you guys. Let's just talk that through. Give me an example of either a direct conversation, an indirect conversation, or a super indirect. Now that you think through those three areas, what has worked for you? And just kind of share some examples with me.
Hey, Stacy, this is Erin. I have bad service, so I don't have my video on.
No problem.
But I have, this is a story about myself. So when I was just a customer, I was not open at all to the business. And my sponsor just said, she just came home from conference and she said, I would love to get your opinion and practice sharing the business with you. We were told to make a dream team list and you were at the top of the list. And I know that you've told me no before, but I would love to just practice on you. And so from there, I was like, well, that's sweet. I'm on the top of her list. Isn't that so sweet? And I was like, of course, I'll give you my opinion and you can practice on me. And so it kind of took the charge out of it. And then it took 2 weeks for us to get anything on the calendar. And then between that time, my husband lost his job. So it was like God set me up and I was able to, have different set of ears when I listened, but I said yes, because she asked me if she could practice on me.
Excellent. So that's an indirect example. Can I get your input? Perfect. Thank you, Erin. Who else?
Well, I'll go. I went and probably did all the wrong things, being too direct, but I walked into a chiropractor's office. It was a very new office, and they looked like they were doing newer type things and muscle work and not just the traditional crack back kind of thing. So anyway, I talked with the, and I was asking for an appointment was my intention when I walked in the door. And I was able to talk to the chiropractor himself. He sat down with me for probably 5 or 10 minutes. We started talking about nutrition. He understood the value of fruits and vegetables, which really blew me away, and wanted to sign up. So it totally worked for me that day. However, since that time, they had a whole change of location and they've moved to a different state, they never did anything with it, but he still has another 6-7 months left on his things that he could get started. And I'm still hopeful. I reach out now and again and continue to drip, but I don't know how I could have really done too much differently. And then from that point, like I said, I shared information and they were just busy. It was just not their time right then. But
yeah, that's a perfect example too. Like, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. If they're ready for the information, they'll receive it well. And you can get stuck. And I do want to point that out because I don't want us to think, oh, I did it all wrong. There's a way that kind of can help open those conversations, like I explained. But if we're stuck in fear of, I don't want to say the wrong thing, we won't say anything. And that's going to get us in worse trouble, right? Like, you just got to start the conversation and you're going to get better at it. You're going to get better at reading the situation and which one is a better approach at that. But how do you learn that? From having the conversations, right? Like, some of the conversations have to go and you're like, okay, that didn't go well. All right, let's learn from it. what didn't go well? What could I change? Could I've had a different approach? But if you never have the conversations, if you stay stuck in the perfection, then you will procrastinate and there will be no progression. And you'll just stay sitting right where you're at and you'll stay in fear. So, Marcia, you're a perfect example. Like, we don't want to do that. Just be brave, just go out there, just have the conversations. And thank you for sharing that with us, because we just want to keep that as a reminder. You could now go back with the super indirect approach again and say, I would love to share more so that your practice, because you guys are in a new place, a new state, you have new employees, just a broad, Zoom that gives a broad overview of what Juice Plus is, so that when your patients come in and ask about it, you guys are informed and you have some resources to share. So you could still do that now. So
Okay.
that's going to build his belief in the product. It's going to maybe show how they could pique his interest of, okay, how could we share this in our practice? I heard one doctor say, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, meaning like when they really understand it for themselves and they have a great experience, you can't help not but share it. And that takes, just their engagement to look at the research, to watch the video, to come to an event, right? And that takes time, and that can be difficult to grab their attention long enough to assimilate that information because they have so much coming at them. So an indirect approach of like, how can I serve you guys? That might be an open door now.
Okay. Thank you.
Excellent. Anyone else want to share?
I'd love to ask a question, maybe. So I've had that, you just got me. I've had that experience a couple times with two different naturopaths. So I've asked them, what do you, how do you choose your supplements? Because they're always offering supplements, and they go, I said, are they always evidence-based? And they said, yes. And so I asked them, and maybe this was too direct, but they already knew I was taking Juice Plus, both of them. So have you considered Juice Plus? It is, it's got like 47 different studies, gold, and I always say independent gold standard peer-reviewed studies, but they completely, I don't want to have people on one thing or whatever. Yet it feels like that's a conflict of what they actually do, because they've done that to me. Here, take this. So looking for input anyway.
You might just say, be able to, in that conversation, it's a piece of the health puzzle. Nutrition is a piece of it. It doesn't replace what they're already recommending, but it's a piece of the puzzle. So especially chiropractors, they are, typically do standard processing. Standard process is the supplements that they recommend. And if they carry them in office, they have a whole shelf of like, this one for this and this for this and this for this. So they have to stock all of that product, in their mind. Can you imagine? They're like, I have all this product. I can't switch to, this, and then I have to carry something else. What do I do with all that product? That's part of their training in school, is the standard processing. They're given a lot of money from that company for scholarships, and they influence the information a lot that the chiropractors get. So they're trained well in that. So if they're thinking you're saying this or that could be what's shutting them down, versus what we're offering is very different, or a complement to what you're already offering. I would say complements versus different, because if they're like, I have to switch, like, that's too much, and they have all of this training in this. So again, I think you could ask for their opinion. Would you look at this and share, just take a look and see, how does it compare? Does it complement? I'm not thinking it would replace it. So it's kind of it's not for you, kind of in that category. Oh, I don't think that this would replace what you're already recommending, because those have specific health reasons you're giving or offering that. But this definitely could complement, because it's the nutrition side of things. So maybe conversation within that. If they feel like you're saying, oh, do this instead of what you're already doing, it's going to shut them down, because they've had a lot of training in that, a lot of influence.
One other thing I would add to that is that they're not having to add more, like supplements in the office. They don't have to add that whole supply. So they're not, inventory is the word I'm looking for. So you're not asking them to add, buy a bunch more product and put it on a shelf just to sit there, but you could be their professional support person and help them with that so that Juice Plus can ship straight to their customer instead of having to have all that inventory.
Right. And that's probably going to be a secondary conversation. If you can even get them to watch some information and the interest is there, then it's like, and there's more. You don't have to stock it. And there's more. I can help you with the customer care. And wait, like it just kind of keeps getting better. But you could just kind of drop it in the conversation. I see, with this, you're having to stock a lot of the product. A great thing about Juice Plus is you don't stock the product. It comes directly from the customer. The customer doesn't even pay you. So it's way less on the front end for you guys. But again, that's a direct conversation. This is for you guys. I said those words for you versus if you're in the indirect or the super indirect approach, try not to go that too fast, I guess I would say.
Hi. Hi, Stacy. Thanks. Sorry, I hopped on a little late. I had a couple calls and I'm still in my jammies.
Oh, that's the best.
Anyway, this is a great topic because I'm going in tomorrow to a naturopath nutritionist, and I love some of your points. I have done this a lot. I've done a lot of cold calling in doctors' offices. I would recommend if somebody's like a brand new rep or somebody who just starts the business to ask their upline NMD to go with them, because we have, the right questions to ask and everything. But what I usually do is I picked up her brochure and I'm looking through it. I want to get as many commonalities as possible that we share. I noticed that she has an email address with New Skin and one with Pharmanex. So I know she's open to network marketing, which is cool because it's taught at Harvard and Yale. And she even has Yale on her flyer. So, and basically what I'm going to say is, I have a lot of customers and I have a team of people that have a lot of customers that are looking for a little extra help. And I wanted to know if she's ever heard of this business, if she's ever heard of the company, of the product, and just to help her be aware, help her know that she has support with me and that I'm a free employee, like you were saying. And so I just think that just going in as a friend, because I know a lot of healthcare professionals do not like it when you say that you can give this to your customers, you can do this, but asking her, how does she up-level her health for her family? Her husband's a really high, he's an orthopedic surgeon. And so I really like him. He's a good friend. And I've never talked to her, never even met her. And she asked me how I liked her naturopath in the office. And I said, I love her. She's awesome. Great job hiring her. And I said, by the way, I'd love to meet you and share with you. And goes, what is it about? Okay, so that's when it comes up. Like, what is it about? You don't want to say too much, right? I said, I'm a nutraceutical rep, and I have lots of other reps that are up-leveling a lot of their customers' health. And I would love to talk to you about what you're doing. And I know a lot of them want some extra help. And I think that we could be a perfect match for each other. And she's like, I'm so excited to meet you. So, getting them to events is hard. So you want to give them as much information. So I'm going to try to, create a letter and a packet and maybe let go of one of my research summaries. So, which is good because those are the kind of people that like to read them. Not very many doctors even read them. They like to look at the abstracts. So anyway, so I'm excited for this topic today. And thanks everybody for all your input.
So I love that approach, Alita, like a partnership, right? So that's the indirect of to get your advice, and even sort of on the super indirect, like I've got people that are looking for what are, if we're on the same page. Are we on the same page? Because I've got people I can send to you. Don't you think someone's going to be like really open to that? Can you imagine somebody had that conversation with us? Hey, I've got this group of people that are really looking for nutritional hacks and easy buttons. And I think we could partner together. Like what I'm sharing connects with what you're sharing. Like you have to have the conversation to see if that's true. Alita did research. She looked at that brochure. Know who you're talking to. That's so important, guys. Don't just blindly walk into these upper level conversations. We're talking this 7, 8, 9 conversation of those people. They've got a great influence, but you don't just have a right to that influence because you've got something great. Like build that connection. Like take some time and really think through those conversations. Don't blow it, if you will, by walking in blind and excited. Sometimes that works, but not always with those conversations. With the people that are on the other end of the spectrum or that scale, yes, you can, because they already look up to you. They already know you have a higher skill set. They're already looking for you advice. Like you can go into that conversation. But if you're walking into those higher skill set or just kind of that chicken list group, like be intentional about that. Look at like, what are they about? Know them. Who are they? Having a brochure is great. Like, don't you wish we could just get everyone's brochure and you're like, let me research them a little bit before I have this conversation. Alita's got a great in with that. That's just so wise. And her advice of taking your upline, if you're meeting with someone or talking to someone, or you want to approach somebody that's on this other side or the skill set level, get your upline involved in it. I blew some of those first conversations because I did them myself. My first 3 people, one of them, I was her nanny. Why would she take health advice from me? She knew what I ate before Juice Plus. Like she wasn't interested, but you know what? 3 years later, she joined somebody else's team because they were her age. They were in her area. She felt they had a stronger skill set than I did. At 24, I probably should have approached her different with my upline's help because she was on a higher skill set than I did, or it was just different. She was a good friend of mine, but I could have brought in some support. We weren't in the same location. That gal joined somebody else's team 3 years later. And her upline got out of the business. She has sat as sales coordinator for now 15 years. I could have been working. I mean, she was just like blown away that I made national marketing director. Like, I can't believe I thought she wouldn't do anything with it. And then now she's a national marketing director. And this gal that she just thought, oh, for sure was going to lead her because she had a higher skill set is out of the business, so she's like, and I keep telling her, just sit out for a year and come back with me. Let's get you to NMD. I'll totally do this with you. But that was a conversation we had 10 years ago. This gal could have already been an NMD by far during that time. But, just be thinking about that with your new team as well as you teach them how to approach those people that are in a higher skill set level than they are, that are at those, that's not fair to think that most of them could just jump into those conversations really strong. And it's if they get discouraged in those conversations too fast, too many discouragements too quick, then that's when they're just like, you know what, this isn't for me. It's too far out of their comfort zone. It's too hard, and they're not going to move forward. So be careful with those because we want to build them up. We want to encourage them. You as the sponsor can walk into those conversations with them just with a lot more confidence. I had somebody get to QSC in 7 days because she just kept bringing everyone to me. She was like, I don't know, but Stacy does. Hey, can you talk to my friend? Can you meet us for coffee? Hey, can you come to the school lunchroom and I'll bring the teachers to you on their lunch break? I was like, if we can do that, yeah, I'll do it. And we did. And we had little short conversations and we moved through the conversation to the next person. And she's like, okay, I'll go watch your class. You come talk to Stacy for like 5 minutes if we had that. And then that teacher had to go back and then she would bring another one. And it was like, she knew I don't have the answers, but Stacy does. So she just brought them to me to have the basic conversation. And then she got their orders. Like, I've never seen anyone do that. She's now a senior sales coordinator on my team. And I'm always like, do what she did. Like, let me help you. Use your upline. They've had training, like the company pays them. The company's paying 5 people above you. Are you tapping into them? Are you letting them help you? Are you helping your new team? This isn't just about us. If we really want to build a business, we've got to be building team. And that means we've got to be teaching them and coaching them. And so I just want to encourage you, for those of you that got on and didn't hear, that I built a mini course, a training that you can take this information and gather your team together and do a training for them. And it's in the DMOpro section of our app. So if you haven't downloaded the app, it is DMOapp.com. That will take you there. And then there's a subscription section. And in that subscription section is this mini course, as well as 2 others. And as I come up with trainings and do them for my team, like I've got the worksheets for you guys. It's all typed out. Like, how do you do this? How do you take that information, watch that video by Eric Worre, and then do a training with it? Because if I'm not teaching you how to train your team and it stops with us, then it stops with us. We've got to be training our teams underneath us. So I hope you guys take this business information that we discussed and then assimilate it. Take what I shared today, do a Voxer message for your team. You don't have to do the whole thing. Do something short that piques their interest or gives them some of this information. Don't keep it to yourself. If you want to build, you've got to get to the point where you can teach and train your team as well. All right, so we're at our 30-minute mark. I will stop recording here, but thank you guys all for sharing.